Okay, today we are going to review greatest common factor and least common multiple, and then you will have an assignment in your book to do, and then finish working on your IXLs for this week. Okay, so reviewing greatest common factor and least common multiple. For both of these, the very first thing you have to do, and you're writing these notes in your notebook, and then you will take a picture and submit them to the Canvas assignment today. So, the very first thing you have to do, whether you're finding greatest common factor or least common multiple, is make a factor tree. For each number, and write the prime factorization for both numbers. Now, last week, you have notes on making factor trees and writing prime factorization. So if you don't remember how to do a factor tree or prime factorization, you can go back and look at those notes. Then, after you do that, to find greatest common factor, you are going to circle the pairs of prime numbers that show up in both lists and multiply them. And if you're finding least common multiple, you are going to multiply the prime numbers that are in both lists based on which list has the number the most. Remember, you can always pause the video to write down notes if I'm going too fast. So again, for both of them, greatest common factor, least common multiple. You start with factor trees and prime factorization. For greatest common factor, you're circling pairs and then multiplying them. Where with LCM that we did on Tuesday, you are looking for the prime numbers that show up and multiplying it by the row that had the most number. So then to look at some examples. I had the number 24 and 60. So the first thing you would do is find your prime factorization for 24 and 60 by making a factor tree. So you could do 8 and 3. 3 is prime. 4 and 2 is prime. And 2 and 2. So the prime factorization for 24 would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Then for 60, you could do 10 and 6. Neither of those are prime. 6 would be 2 and 3. 10 would be 2 and 5. So your prime factorization for 60 would be 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Okay. Then you can use that same list for both greatest common factor and least common multiple. So greatest common factor, we're looking for pairs. So we've got this pair of 2, this pair of 2, and a pair of 3. So to find greatest common factor, we would take 2 times 2 times 3. 2 times 2 would give you 4. 4 times 3 would give you 12. So your greatest common factor would be 12. To find your least common multiple, okay, we've got 2s, 3s, and 5s. So if we look at both lists, the most 2s shows up in 24. So we need all 3 of those. There's a 1, 1, 3 in both lists, so you're only using 1, 3. And there's 1, 5. So then to get your LCM, you are multiplying all of those. And this is where you could use a calculator. So you are taking 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Okay? So 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. So your least common multiple would be 120. Okay? So then your assignment for today, what you're going to work on is first thing you need to do is take a picture of your notes. And submit to Canvas assignment. Okay. Then the second thing you are going to do is in your book, page 11, numbers 1 through 10. Now, on number 3, you're only using 21 and 35. On number 4, you're only using 18 and 26. On number 7, you're using 12 and 15. And on number 8, you're using 9 and 15. So make sure you pay attention to that, because on 3, 4, 7, and 8, they give you 3 numbers. But for 3, you're only going to use 21 and 35, 4, 18 and 26, 7, 12 and 15, 8, 9 and 15. And then if you finish both of those, the last thing you can work on is IXL for the week. Okay, and those were all in the R. You have R1, 2, 3, 7, 9, and 10. And then also make sure your warm-up is all done for today.